What's up, guys? This is Avilo here with Metagame Update number 17. And this one, the last Metagame update that I made was talking about how the balance designers were not doing their jobs and not actually balance designing the game. And, you know, balancing it, tweaking things. Well, apparently they suddenly woke up, miraculously, and it looks like now they're starting to tweak the game again, which I would say they need to do more of right now, because right now, as in terms of the metagame of StarCraft 2, it's stale. It's verging on boring. And why is this? There's a couple of reasons. And once again, I use the biggest example of this. Broodlord Infestor, Broodlord Infestor, Broodlord Infestor. What's gonna happen this game? He's gonna go Broodlord Infestor, Broodlord Infestor. So, in an RTS game, especially StarCraft, you don't want the same strategy happening every single game, because eventually that will wear down the viewers. Whether it's subconsciously or overtly, whether people realize, hey, this is the same shit every game. Eventually people realize it. And then eventually you have people like me that will point it out. And then more people realize it. But, so here's the biggest issue with the current metagame overall. Well, first of all, it goes across almost every matchup that includes Terran in it. If you notice, Terran players are dropping off a little bit. Although Terran did just win, Bomber just won GSL or whatever. But in general, on ladder and everywhere else, Terran players are starting to drop off here and there, you know. And it doesn't have to do necessarily with balance, more so than it does the amount of options, which can be influenced by balance. Terran players right now really have no options. What is the option for Terran in every Terran matchup? Marine Marauder medevac with ghosts. 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 Sorry guys, I just had to do that. But you get the picture, right? Every game is bio. Terran versus Protoss. In Wings of Liberty, the game Mech was they ruined Mech in Wings of Liberty. The developers ruined Mech. They made the tank suck. And so every TVP after the beta, after the Wings of Liberty beta, was bio. Marine Marauder. Then you get your Vikings and your Ghosts. Same thing every game. They said they were going to change that with Heart of the Storm. It hasn't changed. They added the Hellbat, but then they completely, boom! They brought down the Nerf hammer on the Hellbat, and you don't see Hellbats anymore, and there's a reason for that. It's because you can't build them reasonably to be effective because of the huge nerf where you have to have the blue flame. So, you know, they killed the Hellbat in every single matchup. So, in TVP, Terran players right now, you have to play Terran players in Terran versus Protoss. You have to play Baya. You're playing Wings of Liberty style against Heart of the Swarm Protoss. You're basically playing exactly the same as you do in Wings of Liberty, plus the medevac speed boost, plus the early game Reaper to scout all of the bullshit Protoss can do to you. Whereas Protoss is playing an entirely new game. They got free hallucination, cheaper DT shrine, mothership core boosting, blink stalker all-ins, and all these other one-base all-ins, void rays, proxy oracles. And then, of course, late game, you got the Tempest added in there, which makes Protoss late game even better than it already was. And, you know, Protoss versus Terran right now is heavily Protoss favored because of all of these things. But, you know, that's not what this one is about. This metagame update is about, the metagame is a little bit stale and boring. Bio. Where's Mech? Where the fuck is Mech? What are you doing, Blizzard? What are you doing? Where's Mech? What are you doing? You're not doing anything. They're not doing anything, guys. And now let me go over Terran versus Zerg real quick. A lot of Zerg players are complaining this is it's definitely not imbalanced. I was just watching Flash's stream when Flash was streaming. Flash was getting fucking destroyed by Zergs going Bio Widowmine every game, going Marine Widowmine. He was getting obliterated by some of these Zergs. So Terran versus Zerg is not as broken as some complainers would try and make it out to be. It's pretty balanced, although once again, and this is the biggest point I can make, whether or not TVZ is very balanced or not, Is it fun to watch? Well, this is a little bit tricky to articulate. It was fun to watch the first 100 times where it was Bio Widowmine, Marine Widowmine, Bio Widowmine against ling bane ling muta, Bio Widowmine against ling bane ling muta. That was really fun and exciting to watch the first 100 times. The first 1,000 times it got a little bit fucking boring. That's, you know, that brings me back to broodlord infestor every game. Broodlord infestor, broodlord infestor. Well, now TVZ, whether or not the game is definitely more balanced. Don't get me wrong on that, guys. The game is definitely way more balanced than Wings of Liberty TVZ. But just because it's more balanced doesn't mean that it's good. We're seeing the same strategy every game. It's a more balanced strategy, but we're seeing the same one every single game. 100% of the games. Bio Widowmine against ling bane ling muta. We, the spectators, we know every single TVZ 100% before the game starts. We know it's going to be Bio Widowmine against ling bane ling muta every single game. And this sort of takes some of the surprise, exciting factor out of it that David Kim and company always like to say, we like this to be action-packed and exciting. Well, it's not so exciting if we know what's going to happen before the game starts now, is it? Exactly. And the same goes for Terran vs. Protoss, as I was just saying. We know 100% in professional games and even Masters GM, the Terran player is going Bio every game because that's the only real viable competitive strategy. So, long story short, make Mech viable. What does making Mech viable do for the game, for the metagame? Well, first of all, it's a different strategy, something different. It plays completely different than Bio. It's something to refresh the game, not only for players playing the game, but for viewers watching the game. You would be... I don't know if the developers realize this, but whenever anybody sees a Terran going mech, there's excitement. There's fucking buzz around that series. You hear people talking about, hey guys, did you see that Terran player in GSL? Or did you see that guy in the qualifiers? He was going mech against Protoss. Every game. Or did you see that mech TVZ? He actually made it work. There's all this buzz. But a lot of the buzz right now is mostly because that guy went mech and actually made it work. What a fucking... this guy's fucking crazy. That's where the discussion is right now, because everybody knows how fucking weak it is. Anytime we see mech, we're just like, that guy's fucking insane! Why would he do that? So, that's the first thing. Excitement. Buzz. Something new. It's a different strategy. In a strategy game, there should be more than one strategy. There should be maybe 2 or even 3 strategies. Not just one that you see every game. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what does making Mech viable do for the game? Well, not only does it give Terran multiple options to go to and much more strategy variants, it does the same for Protoss and Zerg. What do you mean, Avilo? What do you mean making Mech viable gives Zerg and Protoss new strategies? Aha! And that's what I'm going to tell you guys. Because you can't play the same way against Mech that you do against Bio. And this was a huge thing in Brood War. If you guys... Maybe you've played StarCraft 1. Maybe you've heard of it after joining this StarCraft 2 phenomenon. But in Brood War, Mech and Bio were... You know, at least in Terran vs. Zerg... you would even see it occasionally in TVP, but you had Mech and Bio viable, at least in TVZ, and so you would, but the unit compositions were vastly different for what you had to do. Against Bio, you would have to play completely differently. Against Mech, you'd have to use an entirely different unit set, and the same thing goes for StarCraft 2. Against Bio, ling bane ling muta is really effective. Against Mech, if Mech were more viable and didn't suck so badly, you can't really go ling bane ling muta against Mech. You actually have to go like Roach, Hydra, Viper, and that's the other thing. People are, you know, David Kim and company, and everybody's like, why is no one using the goddamn Viper? We should buff the Viper. No, you don't need to buff. if you make Mech viable, the Viper becomes viable, because the Viper is like a hard counter to Mech. So if more people are going Mech and Mech is better, then the Viper finally has a fucking use. It's already really useful against Protoss to yank Colossus and Immortals out of the army, but, you know, same thing against Terran. You can't complain that, oh man, Vipers, they don't work. They don't work because no one's going Mech, and no one's going Mech because Mech is shit at the moment compared to Bio. So so those are the two big things. A, there should be multiple strategies viable, and right now for Terran it's literally one strategy. And B, once you make Mech viable, it makes other things viable for the other two races because they have to play differently against Mech. Suddenly, you know, like I said, the Viper becomes viable. You have to play differently as Protoss against Mech. You can't play the exact same way. So that's the biggest thing for the metagame. Right now, it's really fucking stale. Every game, every TVZ, Marine Widow Mine against Ling, bane, muta. Yay! We know what's gonna happen before the game even starts. Every game, like, we just know. Same thing for Terran vs Protoss. He's going Bio! Big surprise there. We knew that. Before the game started, we could tell you how the Terran player is going to try and do damage to him, and he's going to fail against the Mothership Core, and the Protoss is going to come out with a huge army. But maybe the Terran outplays him by, you know, 30% or something. So, so I guess that's what this metagame update is about. The developers, and with that said, the armory change, guys, it doesn't do shit for Mech. Yeah, oh yay, my Vikings are a little bit better against air units. Sure, that helps Vikings not suck as much. They were pretty bad, now they become less bad. But it doesn't do anything against the main issues that need to be addressed. The Immortal, overpowered against Terran Mech. The tank is underpowered against Protoss. It's good against Zerg. The Swarm Host, it makes TVZ, if the Terran attempts Mech, you basically have to sit there and turtle until you have like 15 Ravens. And then Zerg player is just sitting there with Swarm Hosts rallying Locusts into the Terran. It's rally point. It's really, you know, it's really boring. Something should be adjusted there. And, you know, as I said, the Viper is really an extreme hard The Blinding Cloud is actually too good against Mech. Although we'll have to see if they actually buff Mech, they could actually leave that alone, because, you know, then Zerg will need a counter to Mech. But as it is right now, the Viper Blinding Cloud is too strong. So, oh, and the upgrades, guys. The upgrades, the problem with upgrades is not that they need to combine them. The problem is that by the time a Mech player begins to research their 1-1 Mech upgrades, the Zerg or the Protoss already has their 1-1 completed and is researching 2-2. So you're basically, if you go Mech, you're playing 0-0 Mech against 1-1 Zerg or even 2-2 Protoss sometimes. So armory price needs to be 100 minerals, 50 gas. They need to make it. They need to make it so Mech players can upgrade their units to be competitive with the opposing players' units. One of the biggest things in StarCraft are the upgrades. I said this, and I'm going to keep saying this because it's a change they can make that doesn't break the game in any other way. If they just make the armories cheaper, you can afford the upgrades a lot sooner in the game because you can afford the armories, and that will help a lot across the board. Suddenly, if you're playing 1-1 Mech against 1-1 Zerg, maybe it's more viable than, you know, it was before. So that's going to be it for this metagame update, guys. Thank you for watching, and this has been metagame update number 17, and I will be streaming a little later, of course. And yeah, you know, let's hope that they adjust the game. If they make Mech viable, it does a lot to refresh the game across the board in every matchup. Because then it won't be just only Bio, and it won't just be only Ling, bane, muta. It won't just only be Charge Lot, Colossus, or whatever. So, thank you guys for watching. See you later. Peace. See you guys later.